today and till today, when I welcome you to the 73rd episode of the Blub World Web Talks. In the last 72 episodes, more than 900 school leaders have participated on this very platform, shared their ideas, innovations, opinions, perceptions, observations on the field of education and how is it changing or will change in the coming times, and how do you perceive this change that's happening all around you. So till now, we've got some amazing ideas that have come from school leaders, and we have shared them with a lot of school principals, somewhere around 5,500 schools across the world. And you can find those ideas on the different social media platforms of Blub World, and you can experiment them within your own institutions. So before we start, why was this platform created and what was the need of it? So this platform basically got found its genesis in the idea that every section of the society contributes to society with its own understandings, its own learnings, its own perceptions, its own experience. And now, when we are all right now facing a situation that we never imagined and we never hoped, and we hope it never repeats itself, we are seeing a lot of changes around us. And the ecosystem of education where we all are working has changed dramatically. And why I use the word dramatically? Because the kind of edtech implementation or edtech utilization that we have started doing, if the pandemic was not there, we would have taken somewhere around 10 years to do this. And with the pandemic, we just took 10 days. So it's typically dramatic that this change happened and appeared to us. And right now we are on this call talking to these yellow square boxes all around us. And that's the typical life since the lockdown began until date. And we hope it changes soon and for the good. So before this talk starts, this is a bilingual platform. So you can either use English for your address or you can use Hindi. दोनों में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. हिंदी या इंग्लिश के अलावा कोई भाषा यूज करेंगे तो I won't get it, otherwise you can use it. But try to use English and Hindi so that it's comprehensible to everybody here and you also enjoy the talk a lot more. So today we'll try to know what do you or practitioners or the real life fighters or warriors on field of education think on is technology really teaching. So a very warm welcome once again from Blub World, which is a magazine meant for teens and which works on the simple focus of teens inspiring teens. Till date, we have showcased nearly 300 such inspiring teenagers from across the world and keep doing so every month on month through the print, online and broadcast media that's available to us in whichever format. And today, again, with each of these talks, we try to bring in two types of people on this platform. The first is the principals or the practitioners or the school leaders who are fighting this education, teaching, learning war every single day in their homes and in their schools, the virtual school right now. And the second is people who are external to the whole K-12 setup so that they could bring a bird's eye view to what we are all discussing. So today we have with us three special guests and somewhere around 7 or 8 school leaders who will be sharing their opinions on how is technology impacting them. And when I say how is technology impacting you, it's not about just the virtual class, just the online classes. It's about every aspect of technology that's impacting you personally and at the same time, the whole ecosystem around you. So let's find out from you that what do you think that is technology really teaching? Let's invite the first special speaker for today, Ms. Sanjot Salgar Patkar, Director, Paratus Knowledge Ventures Private Limited, Pune, Maharashtra. Sanjotji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. You can unmute your audio.
Okay. So good evening all and apologies for joining late. This is Sanjot from Fundamental team. Typically, I would say since I would really thank Daksh for giving us this opportunity to speak. From the technology point of view, I think in the last couple of months, this has really picked up in terms of education platform. I would really put this as 3 areas in terms of content, teaching, and the platform where technology really is making an impact for, in the academics area point of view. Now, when I talk about the platform, I know there are lots of platforms that are available, but I think what is very important in terms of the ease of use for, parents who are not from a technology point of view. So there are a lot of platforms. Schools are also, using a lot of platforms, but a lot of them are not very user friendly even for children. Okay. Second point, obviously, I would also in terms of the trainer or the teacher who conducts the session. The teachers are so much used to kind of having classroom sessions. Now, it's not easy to make a shift to a virtual classroom where you don't have an eye contact or really a physical presence. So you don't really see the body language of a child. So, and in the 20 minutes slot, for a particular lecture which the teacher has to capture, you have to really swim through the topic for a child. So it becomes very difficult for a child to even focus. But I would really stress on one particular point is the content. To actually engage a child, I would personally, kind of talk on the content which needs to be more of engaging, fun, and interactive. Though due to a restriction of, you say, 2 hours or 90 minutes of session, there are enough breaks also given, 20 minutes, half an hour session, and parents are also worried about the screen time for a child. I would suggest that, what I have also seen is, textbooks being scanned or certain PDFs being made out of textbooks and being circulated. That really would not really assist a child, to actually get that thing done. To make it more engaging, there are a lot of apps, a lot of design techniques that are today available in terms of either you can use gamification technique. How do you actually get a child glued on for those 20 minutes and also deliver the specific point? One is, I would suggest, I mean, through my personal experience, you have techniques like, certain kind of leaderboards or badges, to encourage and motivate a child to sit through those 2 hours or 90 minutes, whatever is scheduled for a particular slot for the teacher to engage the child. Have it a little more competitive for a child to sit in the classroom. Other children either doze off or it gets exhausting for the child at the end of those 2 hours. So you can have some leaderboards kind of a thing, or some point system. So it need not be just, grading a child on how well he has done in a particular assignment or score, but simple thing like a child sitting through for those 20 minutes on the attendance factor, punctuality of a child, class participation. These are also things that will help motivate a child to sit for those 2 hours, because getting a child to sit for non-cartoon things is very difficult in front of a screen. How do you engage the child so that it doesn't exhaust, plus also deliver the necessary content to him? So I think this is what, I would suggest in terms of the varying technology and the way the situation has evolved in the upcoming months. You can't really have the textbook kind of a content delivered to a child, rather have it more engaging and interactive, and make use of as much as apps that are available, because that is easily shared and it engages a child addictively also, but in a productive manner. I think these are my points which I wanted to really communicate. I hope I was able to deliver the message.
Thank you so much, Sanjot ji. So I forgot one thing at this initiating or the starting of this, that this whole platform is a timed platform. You can all see Divya Purohit on your screen. So Divya is the timekeeper. Divya, put your hand up. So once your time is over, he'll put his one hand up, and then you have 30 more seconds to conclude. And once your complete speaking time is over, he'll put his second hand up. And if by that time you're not completed, you might get muted. If you get muted, please don't get offended. It is just to finish this activity on time so that none of your schedules get disturbed and we're able to finish it all up and wrap it all up in the perfect possible time. So let's now invite the next guest for today, Mrs. Sapna Jha, founder and managing director, My Tutors Online, HapGen Educational Services, Noida, UP. Sapna ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Daksh, for the wonderful words. And I hope I am audible to all. And I am Sapna Jha, founder of My Tutors Online. I feel privileged to be a part of this eminent discussion today. And today we have gathered here, to discuss a very relevant topic, that is for the current COVID-19 situation we as all human beings are facing. And so education is evolving day by day, and with the involvement of technology, education is taking a new shape. So we here are present to discuss about, is tech really teaching, right? So if I put on a survey analysis of nearly 3,000 global innovators, more than half of them use technology to aid the teachers all around the world. Now you can understand this shows how strongly innovators, global people are involved in use of technology for aiding the educators all where. But I would like to say here that using technology simply won't impact learning. Why? Because if technology is just used, like if you're recording a session and giving it to the student, maybe the student is not interested, that means technology is not perfectly used. So from a recent survey, we got to know that if you use technology with just a drill and kill exercise, it won't impact, right? So better than that, you should use technology where it is more interactive, where there is a real-time feedback for the students, where the students are actually able to apply the knowledge they have learned. And this is what we offer at My Tutors Online. We follow a SAMR model that comprises substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition, with a vision to impart holistic education globally. So what I would like to say, that technology has really impacted our lives all around the world. And now let me explain how technology has helped education leapfrog. Firstly, technology has helped the student to have a personalized learning, where he can perform personalized activities, and then student, parent, teacher, school all can monitor the academic performance at the same time, right? Now, technology has helped us to create educational games, and that foster the playful learning that helps more of the student engagement and ultimately success of the student, right? Next, more often it is said that technology is not accessible to certain group of people, certain group of students, but actually the case is different. The student with disabilities, they were not able to come to the physical classroom, but now with the help of technology, we can provide the education, information, and knowledge to a student whose attendance was missing. And next, technology has helped to provide the education to remote places, to students who they did not have the access to the physical classroom, even they did not have the educational materials. But now with the help of technology combined with the education, remote places or any part of the world, education is available to a student, right? So conclusively, what I would like to say is technology is really powerful. It has power to transform education, but use it wisely, use it impactfully by fostering playful learning, by unburdening the teachers, and creating engaging communities where parents, students, school, everybody is involved for ultimate success of the student.
Thank you so much, Sapnaji. The time was actually over, but yes, you added a lot new perspective to the discussion, where you typically talked about how technology is enabling and technology has the power to do it. And yes, we agree to it to a lot of extent. But let's now hear it from the practitioners, that what do they think, that how has technology impacted the ecosystem? Is it for the good? Is it for the bad? Or has it actually found a balance somewhere in the middle of it? Let's now, we invite the next speaker for today, Dr. Nishant Mishra, Headmaster, Central High International School, Blantyre, Malawi, Central Africa. Mishra ji, over to you for the next 2 minutes. You can unmute your audio.
Daksh, thank you so much for inviting me on this platform. I acknowledge the presence of all the eminent panelists out here. To begin with, I'm not here to really create a balance of having technology being impactful or not. I'm just here to share my experience past 3.5 months. COVID-19 has really impacted most of the countries across the globe. And so in the case of my country where I'm working, it's a sub-Saharan country where things are not as easy as in different countries. To begin with, let me really emphasize on the aspect of where we are exactly. Are we in the developing countries, developed countries, underdeveloping countries, etc. And the result of online teaching or virtual classrooms or offsite learning are really different and varying from one to another. My perspective of offering online classes to my students has been very, very different and quite critical. 23rd March onwards, the schools and universities were closed in this country, and we were all of a sudden forced to opt a plan B option as online learning. Now, this has been a real challenge, and I really would like to have would like to share different dynamics of this situation. Technology certainly has evolved to the highest extent as compared to many other sectors. and technology has become part of our day-to-day life. Having experienced technology being in the classroom, used as a, as a integrated module in our day-to-day lesson, and technology being offered off-site, right? Both are entirely different scenarios. When we started offering off-site learning, we really faced lots of challenges. First of all, to train teachers how to be really effective in offering online classes. Number two, this really took time, or almost a fortnight or so. Number two was socioeconomic challenges out here where, currently I'm working. Parents could not really afford and had access to technology so easily. I'll give you an example of, a cost of bandwidth in this country. It is nearly $6 per GB. We are looking at per GB consumption $6. So around 2,000, 2,500 Indian rupees per day when the parents are forced to, spend money. And what we get is 7 to 8 GB data bundle. So for majority of the parents, it was just not easy for having 3 or 4 siblings at home to give them this facility. Number two, when we started offering, preparing ourselves, training ourselves, we actually thought of going for Google Classroom as one of the modules. And we did continue with this module for a couple of weeks. But again, with the challenges, how teachers were creating their, lessons, and were those lessons really impactful? Based on the feedback, again, we did try with some artificial intelligence, one of the best companies in the UK on board with us, quite expensive. Now, I would like to really emphasize with due regard to my all colleagues, all panelists who are following.
Thank you so much, Nishant. Your time was over, but we'll try to come back to it if it's again possible. What you said, and to summarize, that the biggest challenge you were facing there was typically the socio-economic challenges, digital divide that we can actually see. Teachers training was again a big challenge, and $6 per GB, करीबन 2000 रुपए 1 GB data के लिए, and उसके बाद में the kind of content that you want, और उसका भी engagement, which is where the real challenge comes up, and very difficult to continue learning in such a scenario. But yes, you've been fighting well. Thank you so much for adding that different geographical perspective to the whole discussion. Let's now invite the second guest for today, Ms. Kanika Sachdev Govi, Principal, Delhi Public School, Delhi. Kanika ji, over to you for the next 2 minutes.
Thank you. I had planned to talk about something completely differently, but but after listening to the other speakers, I think I'm going to just talk about something completely different. What is the benchmark that we have set? Is it the benchmark that we have established till date in the last 1 century, or is it the benchmark that we would be setting after using technology? That is A. What do I consider as learning? B, I think I would like to get it from different perspective. A, from the perspective of, has technology taught the teacher? Yes, technology has taught the teacher a lot, and I'll pose a lot of questions for you. I think you'd find your own answers. Earlier, teachers have used yellowed notes to go on teaching for years, but now with the classroom shifting off-site, there is no choice but to push themselves and find new ways of engaging their students. Somebody in the session had just said about, keeping the children engaged, we must have some kind of incentives. I don't think there is any need for any incentives. If the teacher can make her lessons interesting, I think that is an incentive by itself. Maybe a game or two, a quiz, or an audio, or any other kind of discussion. Something was with smart classrooms, but I don't think any school can claim that it was being used to the optimum. So that is one perspective from the teacher. The platform you have right now, very many platforms like these, this kind of collaboration was not happening earlier. It's not that we do not have capacity building workshops earlier in life. CBSE has tried, lots of other publishers have tried, but this kind of capacity was never built till very recently. And we are all enjoying this, we are all partaking in it, we are all learning from it, and therefore from that perspective, teacher perspective, yes, technology has definitely assisted learning. And we are practicing what what ought to have happened. B, looking at it from the teacher, parents' point of view. Yes, earlier it was the parents' job was to drop the child at the bus stop and pack the tiffin, and that was it. But now the parent is very involved with the academics of the child, willy-nilly. Even the grandparents are involved. Learning has happened. Learning happened. Thirdly, the stakeholders like the ministry, the managers, the various other stakeholders. Yes, the data that has been collected, we have opened our eyes to the number of people who have access to technology. It was all available, but we had ostrich-like dug our heads into the sand. And we assume that just because the maid servant
Thank you so much, Kanika ma'am. Again, to summarize what you said, the time was over. That what typically we have to understand that what do we consider as learning? Naya benchmark ya purana, but yes, we need to find the definition of it, that where do we consider that happening? And tech really taught the teachers more than the students, because हम हमसे अपने आप से एक थोड़ी सी digitally advanced generation को पढ़ा रहे हैं, जिनके लिए it's quite native enough. And tech was there, but we never used it to its fullest. And एक बहुत बड़ी चीज जो actually culture is supposed to teach us, जो था नहीं यहाँ पे, and which we are right now learning through, is collaboration. हम लोग हमेशा competitive रहे हैं, collaborative नहीं रहे हैं, but now we are all learning collaboration क्योंकि existential risk खड़ी हो गई है. And when you said about parents, so you're very right. The school as a structure has now become absolutely transparent. Because हर क्लास में पेरेंट बैठा है और पेरेंट के साथ शायद ग्रैंड पेरेंट या कोई फ्रेंड या कोई बच्चे का भाई, so everybody is there and actually scrutinizing your every single statement. So that's where the school was not ready. And typically एक स्कूल में CRM डिपार्टमेंट नहीं होता, but अब उसकी जरूरत हो गई है. You have to typically have somebody for customer relationship management because the parent is there on every call. So thank you so much, Kanika ma'am. Let's move on to the next speaker for today, Mrs. Chitra Saha, Principal, Rogers Academy, Siliguri, West Bengal. Chitra ma'am, over to you for the next 2 minutes. You can unmute your audio.
Good evening to all dignitaries present there. Today I, Chitra Shah, the Principal of Rogers Academy, would like to share ideas and thoughts on is technology really teaching. Technology is not the solution to 21st century education, but it's simply a tool to aid education and learning. An important place in the teaching. Technology becomes a barrier to teachers as well as students. Without technology, education would have come to a standstill. Technology is the need of the hour and can be very well understood by the present situation. If technology would not be available, then children all over the world would be sitting idle in their homes and doing nothing. Technology has brought education to the doorstep. Through it, education can be imparted, but students do not have to be physically present at the campus. Hello? Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Hello?
Just speak a little louder. You're audible.
Okay. So today's apps like Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams can virtually bring many people together, and learning and teaching interactions are possible. Different presentations can be made with the help of technology. This makes teaching and learning more interesting. Students also enjoy this more and grasp knowledge faster, more than the textbook learning. In order to make teaching possible during the normal times, also technology can just aid the teachers in their teaching methods, but they cannot replace the teachers. Teaching with the help of apps and presentation may limit the ability of the teacher. Sometimes it may be much easier to explain our ideas with the help of chalk and blackboard. Spontaneous use of examples and references can help the students to understand than preset presentations. Technology is limiting the imagination and thinking of the students. Nowadays, if students do not know the meaning of a word, want to write a paragraph, they do not use their mind. They do not open even a dictionary or even an essay book. They directly type the word or speak the paragraph in Google, and they easily get it without doing any hard work. Technology is really making the children lazy. As we are living in the 21st century, we need to use technology as it is a necessity. But technology is really making children attached to the gadgets like mobile, computers, and so on. So I would like to conclude by saying that technology is a necessity and has been used by every school to impart knowledge to students, but it cannot be accurately said whether technology is really teaching. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chitra ma'am. So technology has been a tool and we don't know whether it's teaching or not, that's for sure. But Abhi, what we need to understand as educators is that tech is a tool till the point you know how to tame it. And at this point, most of the people who are using technology don't know how to tame it. Because as education has an underlying paradox always, कि आप अपने से पिछली generation से पढ़ते हैं और अगली को पढ़ाते हैं, और 2 generations का gap आप actually अपने student तक लेके जाते हैं. And that's where the real challenge has come up, because technology is a very advanced thing. और advanced होने के साथ में सबसे important factor है कि उसका pace of change is too much. और उसके साथ में अब race out कर पाना है, typically उसके साथ में रह पाना is the next level difficulty which everybody is facing right now. And just wanted to share one observation. Just some days back, we had a behavioral scientist on this platform, retired Colonel Sudeep Mukherjee. He shared that a student who's typically looking at a screen and trying to learn from such an online class or a virtual platform has an attention span of only 8 seconds. And on every 9th second, you've already lost his attention and his concentration. So you'll have to think of much, much more engaging ways to keep him stuck to what you're saying and what you want him to listen to. Let's now call the next speaker for today, Dr. Suchitra Bhattacharya, Principal, Manav Rachna International School, Chambud, Delhi NCR. Ma'am, over to you for the next 2 minutes.
Namaskar, good afternoon. It is wonderful. Thank you so much, Daksh, for giving such a wonderful platform and bringing in so many educators talking on the same topic. I am very positive about technology. Technology is just a tool in terms of getting the kids to work together and motivating them. But one has to agree the teacher is most important. Again, I can say that delivering a talk with the help of modern technology is not actually teaching in real sense. Then the question comes, yes, is tech really teaching? I would say a big yes. It is rare in today's time to find any environment that does not integrate technology in some form or the other. Then why does such question come when we all have embraced technology and we have landed up to virtual education, the virtual class? In fact, I would like to say that it is giving children more confidence. It is self-disciplining them, because children of today, they were in the field of technology much before us. With the virtual classes, they are exploring, they are creating podcasts, they are developing animations, they are definitely having a competitive advantage, because as said by my previous speakers, teaching is no more restricted to only classes. Teaching has become global. Teaching has entered every house. It is reaching each and every parent, and as said, even the grandparents. Technology has increased our ability to incorporate multi-model approach. The teacher is always wanting to prove herself, and therefore every day she is improving in her methodology. Teaching is surely having a positive impact through technology. Of course, it may not be reaching to each and everyone. That never did even before. The value of education, the level of education was different. However, even CBSE and MHRD, they are, these departments, the NCERT, they are having such modules so that technology can reach each and every corner of our country. Teaching is surely having a positive impact, and provided the curriculum is well designed and the delivery is done in a perfect manner. For that, proper trainings are given to the teachers, and the teachers have really learned how to handle technology. If you talk of the generation, they had always been a gap between them and us. Even now it is. But of course, the environment is all in the learning process, and we are doing excellently well in the term of when it comes to technology. The eye contact, the body touch, the peer learning, the games is definitely missing, and therefore now the new normal will have a blend of technology aided learning, that is virtual learning, and classroom learning. I think the shift that has taken place, the wonderful way we have adopted, I think that's the best thing that could have happened. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Suchitra ma'am. And yes, you said it very rightly that lecture mode is not working anymore. We needed the classroom to actually go on to a discussion mode. कि जहाँ पे बच्चा engage हो सके and अपना perspective ला सके. And flip learning now has to be used much more, where he has to be made into an active learner rather than a passive receiver of information. And typically एक बहुत major चीज अब change जो हो गया है कि when a student sees you on a screen, he's comparing you or the teacher with any celebrity, because that's what he has seen on a screen. And आपके और उसके presentation skills में बहुत बड़ा फर्क है. And उसको patch करना is the real training need that has actually come up. And teachers ने या educators ने अभी तक जो पढ़ाई करी है और अभी जो उन्हें करना पड़ रहा है, उसमें teachers बहुत अच्छे से कह सकते हैं कि ये हमारे syllabus में नहीं था. And right now there has to be a new syllabus even for the teachers. और students के लिए तो चाहिए, क्योंकि पुराना curriculum ऐसे deliver नहीं हो पा रहा है. So thank you so much, Sujitra ma'am, for sharing your perspective. Let's invite the next speaker for today, Mr. Bibin Alexander, Principal, Saiba International Public School, Sangrur, Punjab. Bibin sir, over to you for the next 2 minutes.
Good evening, all the eminent leaders present here. I hope that I am audible.
Yeah, you're audible.
Thanks a lot to the Blub World and all the organizers of Blub World. So the question is really relevant at this moment. Is tech really teaching? But my question is, teaching is happening, is learning really happens? So let me explain, or let me just conclude with our practices that we are doing here. We are wonderfully doing well with the online classes, but to the another extent, we have only at least 50% of the attendance only are there. See, I have 1700 students in my school, so of that 1100 students are from the villages. So the technology is not reaching to the villages, or maybe the father has a mobile and he is going to the field to work, and he may not be able to provide his mobile to the children to attend the online classes. So far what we have done here is, we have already instructed the teachers to engage the children in the online classes. Do not stick on to the syllabus. Have the lessons which is related to day-to-day life, have the lessons which is related to their life, and integrate the subject and teach them the lesson. And even we have organized the virtual summer camp also with the different activities to take away the boredom from the children. So here the technology or this lockdown has impacted a great role of parents in the education system. So in these days, there is a picture roaming around in the Facebook and all. In an online class, child is playing and the grandmother is sitting down and taking notes in the class. So I would say that the school children in India, they are not at all ready for an online learning system. Maybe the Indian metros, the children from Indian metros are ready, but in the urbans and the villages of India, they are not at all ready to be given an online teaching learning process. So maybe the attention of the teacher is lacking for the children. So the physical touch from a teacher, a pat from a teacher, an appreciation from a teacher, and all these things are not happening. So in a classroom, teacher can monitor the child, or teacher can monitor all his or her students very well. But seeing 40 screens and checking the students, that will only take 40 minutes of free version Zoom. So I would say that teaching is really happening. Teachers are acquiring so much knowledge. Teachers are becoming experts in technology and they are inventing. But this is not getting delivered to the children completely. So teaching is really happening, but learning is not really happening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bibin sir. The whole process of education, or the whole objective of the teaching learning process, is the final outcome or the learning outcome of it for the student. And what we can witness right now across not only India, across different countries, is that the teaching process is happening, but we are not very sure that whether learning is taking place or not. Because teaching can be done, but learning has to happen. And the happening is not actually happening. That what can be done is being done. So there's where there's a big gap. And what I would like to bring to everybody's notice, that in rural India, which we the country that we consider very advanced as far as digital infra is concerned, and the kind of bandwidth that we have, even when Nishantji shared his observation that paying somewhere around 2000 INR for just 1 GB of data, in India, in the country we are all, nearly 55,000 villages don't have network access. I'm not talking about internet. They don't have network, any kind of mobile network. And India only has a population of somewhere around 25% for network population in the rural areas. 75% of rural India does not have network access. इंटरनेट तो उसके बाद का सेकंड स्टेज है. सो ये जो डिवाइड है वो बहुत बड़ा है. एंड एक चीज जो रूरल इंडिया के बारे में हम सबको बहुत ज्यादा ध्यान देनी चाहिए कि अक्रॉस रूरल इंडिया इवन द गवर्नमेंट create an ecosystem. There is not an education ecosystem there. The epicenter of education in rural India is the midday meal, which cannot be delivered virtually. Only that midday meal is the incentive that builds the whole economy or the ecosystem around in rural India. So what we should think that at this point, a lot of private institutions, a lot of big schools, a lot of people who can who have the extra resources, try to donate knowledge in whichever way you can. Do teachers training for them, do allow kids on your online platforms, do it in whichever way you can. But this is the time to actually reach out and create a much bigger, societal change around all of us. So thank you so much, Vipin sir. Let's now invite the next speaker for today, Mrs. Indra Sharma, Principal, Evergreen English Academy, Martam, Sikkim. Ma'am, over to you for the next 2 minutes. You can unmute your audio.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daksh. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. So, welcome everyone. And I think there was really coming to the topic. I think in where the part of India I live, Sikkim, and that also in the rural part, technology is really teaching. But exactly as Mr. Bivin Alexander, he said that whether the children are learning or no, that is the big question again. Because we as a teacher, I as a principal, and me insisting other teachers to make a proper recording of videos and everything has been reaching the students. And in rural portion, again, there comes not only the students are learning, but again, the parents are also, I think, learning and getting more acquainted with this technology in today's scenario. But most of the, for example, if 80% are getting education, maybe 20% are left out literally because they don't have access to internet, or they don't have Android phone to access the net or access the whatever information we are sharing. So that has really come to the toss where, because we as a principal or we as an educator or a teacher, we want to be fair to all and we want everyone to learn, right? And this, that left out 20%, we feel that they also should at some point of time get whatever we are teaching. So that has really been impacting, the rural area has really been impacting. And coming to one, just a small story kind of thing, just a sharing that I received one call from a parent that she just bought a phone so that his son could learn. So her son could learn whatever we were like imparting, the lecture we were imparting. So that kind of situation has come where parents are, or some parents are really showing interest so that whatever we are imparting, they should somehow get engaged on that. But on some part where parents are also, I can see parents who are least interested. They have come to the point that they are saying that no, students cannot, they are not ready to, basically they are not ready to accept that online teaching can happen and students will be able to grasp whatever we are imparting. So it is kind of 50-50, but because India, it just started, I think, because of this pandemic situation only, it has just started we are teaching through technology. So maybe it will take time, and slowly and gradually, like any other, we may be accepting all these things, and everyone in India and around the world, slowly they may be accepting these things, that this is the future actually. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Indra ma'am. So there's still a lot of resistance from the parents, and people are not still in that denial mode that they are not accepting that yes, tech is there and it's the real reality. So today, in each of these talks, when we curate these talks, we try to bring in the maximum variety of geographies. क्योंकि आप इस call पे देख सकते हैं, there are people from the best cities of India and some of the smaller cities of India. I use the word wrong. It's not best. Some of the biggest cities of India and from some of the smaller cities of India. And at the same time, we try to bring in people with different ideologies, with different thought processes, so that everybody can at least share some ideas and understandings about what all perspectives could be added to these discussions and our thinking processes. So we have one more special guest today. Let's invite her for the next 3 minutes. Ms. Archana Parsai Gehlot, founder, Asmakam and Kotfu, Indore, Madhya Pradesh. So, ma'am, over to you for the next 2 minutes. And she'll be typically talking about self-designed learning and learning which is not, typically forced upon, but inculcated on. So let's listen to
Thanks a lot, Daksh, and I really welcome everyone of my co-creators here. Please don't feel offended if I talk something which about the current education system, but I really, my apology if you feel offended. So I think I just Mark Twain's statement that I want to keep my schooling and my education separate. I don't want to interfere my education with the schooling. That statement, one sentence in itself is saying a lot about what education is. And education, I think everyone is educated here, and it comes from a Greek word called to draw out. So to draw out the talent, each child is unique and they are born to learn. So no one can deny that someone has to teach them. This teaching thing came very late in the history, but I think I would go with this pandemic has brought us a very big challenge, and I think it's a time to rethink and reimagine the things we have been doing with our small ones, our children, our youths, our teens, and this discussion has been going on for long. So I think this pandemic, this 3-4 months has given us a lot of time to introspect and retrospect and think where we want to take our education from here. Not schooling, I'm not talking about schooling. So first point of learning is that we have forgot to learn from the world, and we just keeping ourselves restricted to learning from the world, which is written in the books, which is written in the curriculum, which is written everywhere. As a teacher, we are conditioned to teach whatever is available in the curriculum. We never question that what is needed in the life. So real life skills are missing. And I think this is the best time for parents and teachers and educators to rethink how we can engage our children. Other thing, I think I would request all of you here who are working with thousands of children. As a mother of self-learner, I think we'll have to be innovative in terms of what we are showing and what we are demonstrating to our children. Instead of reinventing the wheel of online curriculum and teacher teaching the same subject as she was doing in the school, on the board or, on the whiteboard or whatever. I think there are many platforms now available, and I'm especially fan of Khan Academy, which my kids have been using it for last, I think, 15 years now, 2006. I personally met Sal Khan in California. We moved to Bharat from US in 2014 before that. And I advised and I requested him that why can't we bring the Indian CBSE and NCERT curriculum in sync, because all the content is there. Why can't we do this? Which will help schools to become more innovative in teaching. So it can be, schools can easily adopt the flip schooling model. So all the schools can become sports ground, can become self-learning cafes, so let kid do like homework in the school rather than sitting and learning from being a passive learner. They can, study whatever the subject. I think I have a lot of questions on the curriculum and subjects as well. Why are we teaching the subjects which are not relevant anymore in the real life? But anyway, I wouldn't go into this right now. Why can't we be innovative? Use those already existing platforms. Let children learn on their pace, on their own pace. Understand the topics. Why do we think that they are not matured enough? I think as a spiritual being, I think they are.
Thank you so much, Archana ma'am. The time was actually over. To summarize what you said, that a lot of open spaces have to be now developed within the school institutions, because abhi school hi open ho gaya hai, because the school is actually going on at home, and a lot more new approaches have to be taken into account while we are trying to develop an active learner, because एक online class में या एक virtual class में backbenchers नहीं होते. सब फ्रंट बेंचर्स ही हैं, एंड यहाँ पे अगर कोई अटेंशन लूज कर गया तो वो गेज करना नेक्स्ट टू इम्पॉसिबल है. So this is where we need to bring in a completely new and a drastic ideation, so that we are able to build much better learning spaces in the coming times. Because the definition of a school, the way we know it, the way we understand it, has already been obliterated. Because with only 30% students, a mask on the teacher's face, a mask on all the other students' face, it gets a little bit difficult to again visualize a school which was giving a definition to the whole society. A school leader some time back on this very platform shared a very nice observation that a school is a place where the society learns to come together. And we are all right now supposed to teach them a paradox, which is social distancing. How do we make sense of these? So this is where a lot of new approaches, new ideation, new thought processes has to come in. So thank you so much, Archana ji. Let's invite the next speaker for today, Mrs. Rashi Rohtagi, Principal, Seedling the World School, Udaipur, Rajasthan. Rashi ji, over to you.
Hi everyone, am I audible?
You're audible.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Greetings to all the educators here, education managers. Mr. Daksh, thanks a lot. You have been doing a wonderful job. And let me come to the topic because the time is a constraint. Yeah. So the question is tech really teaching? Yes, it is, without any doubt for me. And I have all positives to speak about it. Well, when I build on my talk, you'll finally find some glimpses of design thinking, digital citizenship, and Maslow's hierarchy of needs that is very necessary considering the current times. Pardon me, but I have to be brutally honest when I say that education industry has never realized the need of technology to this extreme extent as today. This pandemic has compelled all of us to come out of our comfort zones and venture things out to save us from being obsolete. Trust me, the transition has not been a cakewalk. Teachers had sleepless nights to become companions with technology, find the most suitable platform to suit their teaching needs, keep a plan B ready every time because technology can ditch us anytime. Yeah. As far as some people, pointed concern about learning, how to check learning. Yes, assessments are also happening. Google Classrooms, exam.net, instructure.com. I mean, things are, as an exploration, they are coming to us. Yes, when we talk about virtual teaching, we say that we are missing the human touch. I say it is possible. Just follow the Maslow's hierarchy of needs in daily teaching and be mindful of the children's physiological and biological needs, their self-esteem, motivation. This certainly will build a connect and motivate teaching and learning. The bright side of this complete situation is that the parents have become partners in learning. They have also become technologically friendly in their endeavor to support their children, in their endeavor to guide their children. They are also walking an extra mile. I mean, I can see many parents who have been completely, aloof of computer, know what a PDF means now, how to use Zoom, what is Google Meet. Directly or indirectly, technology is teaching all of us to progress. Students, certainly, when they attend online classes, they are expected to follow a routine, they have to be disciplined, they have to be punctual, obedient. And as a matter of fact, for you, for me, for everyone, it's just the school building that has closed and not the school. With online classes, it is proved you do not need a building to run a school. The school tasks involve a lot of research these days. And with free hand-on technology, children are learning ethical ways of exploring online platform and how to be digitally secure. Technology is the way of the world today, and there is no way we can go back. Good that we have come forward with it now. With these times, we are uncertain about the new face of the school. Probably we have to go for blended teaching, physical, virtual. We may have to live stream our sessions. For those students who are sitting at home while we are teaching in a physical classroom to a handful of student lot, we have to evolve ourselves as digital citizens. There's no way out. There is immense learning with technology. It makes us effective. It makes our work easier. Certainly, it cannot replace us. So is tech really teaching? Certainly, it is very, very much teaching, and we are growing.
Thank you so much, Rashi ma'am. tech has taught, and parents are now partners in learning. And parent अब आधा अधूरा टीचर का भी रोल निभा रहा है, मॉनिटरिंग भी कर रहा है, बच्चे के साथ में खुद भी पढ़ रहा है. So the classroom has actually extended. अगर आप अभी स्कूल की साइजेस की बात करें तो जो अगर आपकी क्लास अभी तक 30 बच्चों 40 बच्चों की थी, तो वो करीबन 125 लोगों की हो गई है, क्योंकि उस एक कॉल पे पेरेंट बच्चे के साथ में बहुत सारे लोग हैं. तो आप पूरी इकोसिस्टम को पढ़ा रहे हैं, not just that single kid. So thank you so much, Rashi ma'am. Let's invite the next speaker for today. Ms. Paramjeet Kaur, Principal, Sarla Birla Public School, Ranchi, Jharkhand. Paramjeet ma'am, over to you for the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, good evening to all the eminent people over here. Daksh for providing this platform to put up our thoughts on this important topic, that is technology really teaching? Yes, technology is teaching not only our students, it is teaching us, it is teaching our teachers, it is teaching the parents. Everybody is learning. In fact, we had to design a whole new pedagogy wherein we had to intertwine knowledge with the social skills, with the life skills, with the soft skills, with values. So we learned a lot. It was a nice journey. As Daksh said, that what we could not do in 10 years, we did it in 10 days. So it was a nice journey, and we discovered the potential that we all had while learning. And the 150 years old education system that we had been following, what Lord Macaulay had created for us, which CBSE had been stressing continuously, that we have to do away with that rote memorization. We have to create learning spaces for the children. We have to create experiential learning for the children. We have to motivate the children to think critically, analytically, the higher level of the Bloom's taxonomy. I felt that we could do this within these, 3-4 days, because it was kind, you don't know how to swim, but somebody has pushed you into the water, and then you have to swim after that. So that was the kind of situation that we had. And yes, one thing is, yes, like Daksh pointed out just now, that we are not just teaching the children, we are teaching the whole family, because everybody is sitting around them, and at times they become judgmental. So somebody, recently I was watching on WhatsApp that, it was a doctor had put up over there that if I am performing an operation and if somebody is standing right in front of me, even I would fumble and fall down, and I would be liable to make a mistake. So similarly, we keep requesting our parents that leave the child aside, let the child sit silently and study in a separate room. And if required, of course, their help is required. Because when we are conducting those virtual sessions, wherein we are trying to develop their social skills or life skills or value system, there we need the parents to pitch in. Because at that time, parents would be required to help children. What the teachers used to do in the school, the parents have to do at that time at home, getting them ready, like sometimes singing a song, sometimes participating in the morning assembly, sometimes speaking on some eminent personality. So at that time, the parents have to pitch in, yes. And I'm very thankful to the parents, because we always read that the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. And yes, the mother has helped us a lot. And of course, in this case, the fathers were also always there to support. So one thing, like, I feel that that was a major problem that we have, it is still.
Thank you so much, Paramjeet ma'am. The time was actually over, but आपने बहुत सारे important points पे, you attracted the attention towards कि भाई parents जब partners बन गए तो उस point पे एक utopian dream जो हर educator की थी वो actually पूरी हो गई, and value education एकदम से आसानी से deliver हो गई across the nation and across everywhere. And schools ने एक बहुत critical और एक बहुत important role play किया throughout the lockdown, and for which you all should be appreciated a lot and applauded a lot, कि आपने बच्चों की और घर की जो generic anxiety थी, you kept that at bay. बच्चों को दिन भर engaged रखना ही एक बहुत बड़ा challenge हो रखा था, because parents are not always ready or equipped rather to keep them engaged in a much more meaningful way. Because जब बच्चा आपके पास 24 hours है, तो उस point पे engage रखने के लिए you yourself need to learn a lot. तो parent को खुद पढ़ना और उसको पढ़ाना, ये सारे process school ने बहुत अच्छे से किए. So till now we heard the most of the practitioners. We have a special guest today. So now we heard the perspective of the educators who are using a lot of EdTech. Let's hear it from somebody who is creating EdTech, that itna कुछ सुनने के बाद what's their closing opinion. Let's have some closing thoughts from Sanjot ji. Sanjot ji, over to you for the next 2 minutes.
Hi. This edtech industry for a long. So, everybody had different views about whether technology helps, technology doesn't help, content, how is it engaging the content, how do we keep a child engaged, parents' involvement, right from, schools where, middle income and a lower income school, families cannot really reach out to schools, rather reach out using technology with children. So it's been a very interesting discussion. I have been in this edtech, industry for the last couple of years, as well as parents. And so we get always, you really can't satisfy everybody. So we generally look at, what, from the teachers and the students, as well as from the parents' point of view. It is a trying time. So that's what one of the panelists also spoke about, how, you really cannot have apps, or you really cannot have this, the teacher should be engaging. But yes, of course, teacher has to be engaging, but every teacher cannot be really engaging, that as a reality, right? It is an added load for the parent also to sit with a child all through the session, especially for the lower classes, because they are technology challenged, because the children below the age of 10 or 8 really do not understand how technology works, and technology is a very frightening tool to give in the hands of lower children, especially children of lower age. So I think there a little bit of lateral pressure gets put onto working parents, and especially when you have children in the lower age group where you have nuclear families, you cannot expect parents to be hovering all the time, and you have nuclear families, so you don't really have the support of, grandparents also. You'll be just fortunate. So how do you engage a child? Children are running all over the house. Teacher is trying to hold the child together in the classroom. The parents are glued on with their own professional commitments. So obviously, there are certain supplementary tools that should be used, because a child is not going to sit through the class. A child of a higher age category will definitely sit in a class, but children below the age of 8, it's very difficult. Then it's obviously in terms of how do you it's not.
Thank you so much, Sanjot ji, for those concluding thoughts. Before this talk comes to an end, there's something that I would like to share, जो मैं हर talk के typically end में कर रहा होता हूँ, so that it's some food for thought, so that when we meet next, there's something more interesting, something more engaging to talk about. It happens very rarely, और समाज में ऐसा बहुत कम बार होता है जब we can actually see one small thing happening all around us. People and the community around us starts to listen, starts to experiment. And this is the time when you can actually see it all around yourself. कि अगर आप अभी कुछ कहेंगे, कोई नया आइडिएशन करेंगे, कोई एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन करेंगे, तो पेरेंट्स, बच्चे और आपका पूरा इकोसिस्टम अभी सुनने को तैयार है. So this is the perfect time for an educationist to experiment. अगर आप जिंदगी में कोई भी चीज एजुकेशन में करना चाहते थे, तो this is the right time to do it. Do it right away. And एक चीज की हैबिट बिल्ड करिए, because the future generations will actually look towards you to find a lot of answers. वो आपसे ये जानना चाहेंगे कि जब आपको कुछ नहीं करना था, तब आप कर क्या रहे थे. Try to build an observation paper every single day, क्योंकि आप अपने आसपास जो ऑब्जर्व कर सकते हैं, वो कोई नहीं कर सकता. Write only 200 words, लेकिन लिखिए, because वो observations would become the knowledge bank of the future, and that will become the basis for innovation in the coming times. We are also trying to find and showcase some of the best observation papers that school leaders write, ताकि the best innovations that are there anywhere वो सब तक पहुंच सकें, and at least knowledge gets democratized even more. So thank you so much, people, for participating in the Bluff World Web Talk 73rd edition. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, and if you want to attend the future sessions, you can open your audio, say a big yes, and thank you so much for being a part of the Bluff World Web Talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, we would like to be a part of it.
We would definitely like to request.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very interesting indeed.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.